Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be presenting about becoming a teacher of students with vision impairments, a unique and wonderful career. My name is Melanie Audet. I work at Foundation for Blind Children. I am a teacher of students with vision impairments, and I also help with our TVI student success.
Good morning, Melanie. I am also working with FBC. My name is Jaime Pacadere, and I am the Director of Early Education, and I also help support the ASU program here at FBC.
Awesome. So we're going to jump into a presentation to share with you a little bit about what this career is like. And we're going to start off with some myths and misconceptions about blindness and vision impairments. So our first myth: people who are blind see only darkness and nothing else. So Jaime, what's our reality with this one?
So actually, our reality is that only approximately 15% of people who are legally blind are considered to be totally blind with no light perception. So the majority of people who are considered blind can still differentiate between light and dark.
And I have a picture up on the screen showing a little bit of the difference between what a difference in visual acuity may look like. You can see there's a big difference in what the details are that somebody with maybe blurred vision could see. Also, my next slide, I have a little description of what maybe macular degeneration looks like, where you have a loss of central vision. So somebody with a vision impairment might not be able to see facial expressions very well. And also, some people may have heard of tunnel vision. This is another example of a vision impairment called retinitis pigmentosa, where somebody loses their peripheral vision. So they can see kind of pretty clearly in the center, but can't really see what's going on. So somebody could look you straight in the eye, but they're still considered legally blind. They can't see all of the other things around them. So our next myth: people who are blind have a sixth sense. So Jaime, what do you have to say about this one?
So truly, people that are blind do not have a sixth sense. They're not endowed with a sharper sense of touch, of hearing, taste, or smell. What happens is that people who are blind learn how to pay more attention to the information from their other senses and then get more information from that. So this slide is just a picture of those other senses. So when you do have a vision impairment, those other senses are not heightened. The person learns to tune in to what those senses are giving them.
I think that's a good way to describe it, because I know a lot of people may think if someone's blind, they're like Daredevil, the movie where, kind of like that sixth sense or that superhuman sort of ability. But that makes sense what you mentioned. So another myth: most people who are blind are proficient in Braille.
So actually, only a small percentage of people who are blind have learned Braille. Some professionals say that Braille is slow and hard to learn, and this is not true. However, this discouragement can often keep people who are blind from learning Braille. So what we have here are a couple of pictures of people that are considered blind that are accessing written information. So the first picture is an individual that is completely blind and that is reading the Bohemian Rhapsody in Braille, and he is collecting his information that way. And then the picture on the right is a young lady using CCTV with enlarged print. So she is reading larger print on a screen.
And I would have to agree with what you mentioned about the reality that not everyone who's considered blind knows Braille. The majority of students I work with are also using assistive technology devices like this. So, all right, so now we're going to have an activity. For those of you watching this video, if you can pull out maybe a piece of paper, a pen, or write it down somewhere. You might be able to do this without writing it down, but you're going to become proficient in Braille yourselves. So this is called Sim Braille. So this is the Braille alphabet, sort of in like a visual format. So people who are blind don't read it in this way that you're accessing it. They would read it tactily with raised dots. But this is just to show you how simple it could be to learn to be able to teach Braille. So we have a word down in the bottom right corner. It says decode this Braille word. We'll give you guys couple of seconds to try to decode this word. You can also pause this video. All right, and so our word was able, which we are looking to teach everyone that our students are able to go into the world, be independent, get jobs, and just kind of go into life without limitations. So good job, everyone, for decoding our Braille word. So the next myth is most people who are blind have a guide dog. So Jamie, what's our reality?
Our reality is that only a small percentage of people who are blind use a guide dog. A white cane is a more common travel tool.
Exactly. So on our screen, on our slide, we have an individual who is using a long cane. Normally you'll see it's white traditionally with that red strip on the very bottom, and he's walking probably with his instructor, learning how to cross a street. And we do have a picture of a guide dog using a harness. I have just a few select clients that will go and get a guide dog. So our next myth, people who are blind can't work or hold a job. So Jamie, what is the reality here?
So the reality with this one is that with the proper training and opportunity, just like everybody else, you need training and opportunities that people who are blind can work competitively. They may work in fields like customer service, management, education, or even the Supreme Court.
I like this fact because recently I went to Washington, D.C., and I did meet a Supreme Court justice, and he was blind. He has been blind since high school, and he worked his way through law school, got accommodations, and got himself a really great job. There's also another picture of somebody at their job using some assistive technology. So you can see how big they've zoomed in on their screen, but they're still able to access what they need to for work. So we have another myth. People who are blind can't access print or handwritten materials. So what's our reality with this one, Jamie?
A reality is that the progression of computers and technology has made nearly any kind of print accessible to people who are blind. So, computer software can translate print into speech, magnify screen images, as we saw in a few of those pictures, and enlarge that text to a readable size. So we have here on the left, we have a cell phone, and the user is using an app to blow up and magnify the image so that they can see it. And then the other one is a refreshable Braille display so they can read their written material that way through Braille and not have to listen to it.
Something that any of you that is watching this video, what you can do if you're interested, you can be a volunteer if you sign up with this app called Be My Eyes. It's a really fun app where you get to be volunteer and help someone who's blind. So there's 400, over 400,000 users who are blind, about 6 million volunteers who are sighted. So you can have an Apple, iPhone, you can have an Android, but essentially someone who's blind will make a phone call and it uses the back camera on their phone. You can see in that first picture, the person on the left needs some help reading some directions, maybe on a box they're trying to bake or cook, and the text is too small. And somebody on the right is able to answer the call and kind of give them directions like, here's what the text says. I've done this before. I've helped somebody read their medicine label on one of their medicine boxes, and it's just a really fun way to get to help. So I have this one for you, Jamie.
So there are different educational models that you can work in when you are a teacher of students with visual impairments. We're going to talk about what those models look like. One of them is early intervention, and this is that time frame of birth to 3 years. And in this service delivery model, you would work with babies, toddlers, and their families. So you're working with the whole family in this setting, and you're teaching the family and their team how to work with their child and promote independence. So independence starts very young. Typically, you're going to work in the home of the child, but you're also able to go and work at the child's daycare center, a community setting, or a location that is preferred for the family.
So somebody in this model, Jamie, they're probably driving around, going different places every day. How many different
Yes.
places do you think they would go in a day?
So typically, an early intervention provider might go to 2 to 4 houses a day. So it's a nice variety. You're seeing lots of different families in different types of settings working on different skills.
Awesome. And that drive time is also considered part of the workday, right?
Yes, it is. It takes a while in the valley to go places, and that is part of your workday, getting to and from all of your visits.
Right.
Another option is to work in a classroom based at Foundation for Blind Children. So at FBC, there are two different school settings. There is preschool, which are typically 3 to 5 year olds. And in the preschool, students are working on building their conceptual understanding, really developing what is it in their world and what do those concepts mean to them. As a TVI, you would work on teaching pre-literacy skills, social skills, and how the kids can interact with their peers, and then teach them also how to interact with their worlds. There's also an elementary program at FBC, and as the kids get older, you're going to teach them how to use devices to access their world. It might be a Braille writer, it might be a CCTV, it might be a communication device. You'll work on teaching Braille, assistive technology, low vision aids, self-advocacy, and independent living skills. And you're going to continue to show them more of what's in their environment and in their community. Then there are also residential schools, and this is where children or students live at the school on campus. These aren't as common as they used to be, but some students still benefit from this model. All of the educational material is fully accessible. Students are surrounded by peers who are alike with vision loss. It's a very comfortable living environment. They're living in a world built for individuals with vision loss. And then there's easy access to instruction from a TSVI or an O&M.
Awesome. I'll share a little bit about what an itinerant or traveling teacher for students with vision impairment is. This person is typically working in that setting, kindergarten through 12th grade. They are working with the student in their local neighborhood. So the student wouldn't maybe go to the residential school. Our state residential school is in Tucson. So maybe they're here in Phoenix and they're at the school that's just down the road from their house. They're able to participate in extracurricular activities with their sighted peers. So this is really good for getting them kind of ready for, the world of work, going from their school into the world. They're going to be used to, hey, things sometimes fall through the cracks. I'm going to be my own self-advocate and make sure I get what I need. So this is a cool model. A teacher can work one-on-one with students. They might work in like small groups, but sort of similar to that early intervention model. A traveling teacher is going from school to school. So they may go from maybe 3 to 5 schools in a day and kind of incorporating that drive time as part of your workday. This is the model I worked in for a couple of years, which I really enjoy working with K through 12 students. There's also the opportunity to work with transition age students. So these are students that are in high school, they're teenagers, and you're preparing them to go into adulthood. So that might look like going to college or maybe going and getting their job, going to trade school to figure out what they want to do to be independent and contributing to society. So you're preparing the students for this big transition. So you're giving them all of the skills that they need. So if you think about anything you ever learned about life, maybe no one specifically taught you, you just learned it incidentally. Like you understand, what a firefighter does because you've seen videos of a firefighter. But some students with vision impairments may not know about those things, may not know about careers. So you have to teach them specifically about all of these skills. And you're supporting them in what could be the most challenging time of their life, which is really exciting because you are promoting them to move towards independence. So what is this career like? So the things I love about this career, the biggest word on this screen is impact. You have such a big opportunity to make an impact on the lives of students and their families. It's very flexible. Jaime was talking about early intervention, classroom-based model for preschool, elementary. There's all kinds of different models you can working with teenagers, and just kind of being able to set up your schedule. It's very diverse. Not one student with a vision impairment is the same. All of their vision is different. They have different abilities, and so you're just really working with a wide range. Not one day of work ever feels like the same. Would you agree, Jaime?
Absolutely. It's always different, and I think that's what makes it very exciting and engaging to go to work every day.
And it's very valuable. So you can get jobs, quite frankly, anywhere in the country and all over the world. I've known someone who went off to Dubai and was able to work at a school, consulting, giving advice about vision impairment in education. You can take this job as a TVI, teacher for visually impaired, and go work in another state and find a job very easily. So we need more TVIs out in the field. You have the opportunity to think outside the box. You're just really being creative, which is so much fun. And Jaime, is there any other words that kind of stick out to you or that you just love about this career?
I think a lot of it is passion and how passionate we are about our field, but then our families and our students are also very passionate about accessing their world and learning more about their worlds, that their visual impairment is not holding them back. I say it's very unique. You don't run into these opportunities very often. Not very many people even know someone that has a visual impairment, much less have the opportunity and the honor to be their teacher, which I think is lovely. And then collaboration. It takes a lot of people, a lot of professionals, families, students to work together in order to support someone. And I think collaboration is huge.
That's awesome. And I think the last one I forgot to mention was relationships. You could potentially be working with a student from birth, if you were working in an early intervention, all the way through them graduating from high school, working in that K through 12 setting, which is just a really cool opportunity as an educator.
So, how can you become a teacher of students with vision impairments? ASU is currently offering a bachelor's degree in special education with a concentration in visual impairment. These courses are taught by faculty associates from FBC and full-time ASU faculty. So you're really getting the best of both worlds. Graduates are going to earn an institutional recommendation from ASU for teacher certification from Arizona Department of Education in visually impaired special education, birth through 12th grade, mild to moderate disability special education, K through 12th grade, and an endorsement in structured English immersion, pre-K through 12th grade. So you will graduate highly qualified to teach students with visual impairments and students with mild to moderate disabilities.
Awesome. And the way that the sort of it's set up with the major map, you would start, your years 1 through 2. So whether that's at community college, that's at ASU, you're getting some of those educational prerequisites. So if you're already in education, this is setting you up pretty well. Years 3 through 4, so that junior, senior level, you are doing your specific courses. So your vision impairment specific courses would be taught here at Foundation for Blind Children. You would also be taking some ASU classes depending on which campus you're at, West Campus or Tempe. And you're being able to learn while you're reading and learning, you're able to kind of apply that knowledge. And so you're getting sort of essentially like 2 years of experience. Then you begin teaching. Whereas, some people in a major are getting maybe a 3-month internship before they go into their career for 30 years. So we're really trying to set you all up with a lot of experience to become confident teachers. And so a little bit, we have a good partnership with Arizona State University. Christina Hansen is the academic success advisor she's one of the advisors for the program, but she is able to kind of help you all figure out, would this major work for me? How can we make it work? As well as if you're pursuing a post-bac program, she's able to speak to how you can do that as well. And a couple of little sort of testimonials from a few ASU grads. Adele was one of our ASU grads, and she liked that she could apply what she was learning at school directly to the students she was working with. She was able to complete her clinical hours here at FBC in our school-based model. So when she was doing her school readings, her assignments, she was able to take what she learned the night before and bring it to work the very next day, which is really cool. You also have the opportunity, if you would like to be a paraeducator, paraprofessional, you can work in our school model while getting your hours, which is really cool. Lexi is another one of our ASU grads. She liked being able to work alongside her mentors. Seeing them in action helped make her more confident as a teacher here at FBC, which was a really great opportunity for her.
You can also go online to get more information and really dive into details. So go to ASU's website and you're going to look up Special Education Vision Impairment. And this is going to show you the next steps to be able to attend this program. So you have links to review your admission requirements, learn more about the programs, and then how to apply to this program.
And as an ASU trained teacher, students with vision impairments, you have the opportunity to teach students they can overcome obstacles they never thought they could in places they never imagined they would be. I have a couple of pictures of students with vision impairments doing some pretty amazing things, whether that's rafting the Colorado River or sailing a catamaran boat. Or in our picture below, we have a group of individuals who are blind who summited Mount Kilimanjaro, the tallest mountain in Africa, with a few sighted guides. So pretty amazing things that you get to teach students with vision impairments of what they can go and do in the world. And that sort of concludes our presentation. So thank you everyone for watching. We have our information, Jaime and my information, and we are very thankful for our partnership with ASU, and we really hope you all consider our program.
Thank you for joining us today.
Great. Thank you. Bye.